What's up, tribe? Thank you for being here and welcome to my channel. Today I thought I'll share some of Matias de Stefano's blog with you. His blog is called Yosoy, and I'll be leaving a link to it in the comments. However, he had given me permission to share some of its content. So today I'd like to share a dialogue titled I Am the Tree. And it's a dialogue between his higher self and him. And I'll be referring to Matias as me and to his higher self as I am. Me. If my base chakra is life energy, why is it also called the root chakra? I am, because it is the point from which the connection with the earth is born, which is where much of the energy of this chakra comes from. The physical expression of the roots are your legs, and the knots that accumulate nutrients are your knees. Me. So the knees are constituted as one more chakra? I am the 8th chakra from the point of view of heaven, and the 2nd from the point of view of earth. This means that for the etheric, spiritual plane, the path to life manifests itself in taking an idea, crown. Then I turn it into a purpose, third eye, for which I must learn and develop in the experience, laryngeo. Share myself and expand my limits, heart, to strengthen the personality that is my tool, plexus, and thus create the necessary energy, sacral, to manifest my ideas, root, born, and begin to trace my path on earth, knees. However, for those who seek to get out of the paths of life, to return to the spirit, they go the opposite way. It seeks to free itself from the roots in matter, knees, in order to transmute its energy, root, and become the creator of a new reality, sacral. Me. What information do the knees connect with? I am with the story and your ability to adapt to it. The legs are the tools of the physical body that hold the greatest amount of weight of your material. They are the ones that exert the greatest amount of pressure, the ones that generate the greatest force and power, and the ones that allow you to move forward or backward. Your knees are the centers of flexibility on this path, the ones that allow you to lean, protect yourself, perform strength and hitch when climbing an uphill. They are the ones that remind you that the path is forward or upward, as they are designed to help you walk, move in the environment, and be agile when running, escaping. The idea of the knees is to strengthen your presence here and now, and to help you advance on the path you are traveling. Me. This is why they are related to history, because they mark the path traveled by our body. I am, and not only of my own, but of all. By cellular memory, each step you have taken has been recorded in your knees, and through the sympathetic and parasympathetic pulses of the nervous system. These data are recorded for future reactions. You can think of your knees as a kind of GPS that records all steps you have taken. But when your phone dies, this information goes through the cloud and is downloaded to a new phone, perhaps with better applications and operating system. But the steps are there in the GPS. This lets you see that each step taken by your ancestors is recorded in the nervous pulses that have inscribed it in the DNA. The reason is the provision of information in the event of similar circumstances. For example, climbing a ladder for the first time is difficult until your body has experienced it, and then it will no longer be necessary to think about it, because the mechanism of how to do it will be in each cell, and they will act by reaction when seeing a staircase. Today you no longer think how to raise or lower it, it just happens. You do it, and that's it. Well, now imagine the same with every decision that has been made. Where have you gone? What have you done? To travel or not to travel? What you eat? What you feel? The attitudes and aptitudes, the developed abilities, the unsurpassed traumas and beliefs, denials, repressions, pains, dangers, loves, sensations, intentions, everything you can think of that has involved a decision making and has led to an action, all of it has been recorded as a pulse. If it had to be done several times, has been mechanized. The more times it has been repeated. Me, that is, taken into account that the sympathetic nervous system refers to everything that we do voluntarily, such as speaking, moving my hands to write. Every action and attitude that leads us to do something at will is ingested from mechanically by the parasympathetic system by repeating itself over and over again. That is, as breathing, heartbeat, digestion. I am exactly everything that you shouldn't think to make it happen is a result of a sympathetic action that mechanized became parasympathetic, and so it is inherited from generation to generation, like the very beat of the heart. That is why we resemble our ancestors. That is why we have attitudes of grandparents, great-grandparents, parents, even without knowing them. Therefore, we repeat the same mistakes or awaken the same attributes. Me. Does this mean that we must free ourselves from these attitudes to be ourselves? I am error. Who are you without those attributes? What are you yourself? Think. Me, I am the end result of all of this. That is, my existence, my personality, what I think I am, is the complete product of all that mechanical action. My personality, myself, is practically an inheritance seen from that point of view. I am very well. You cannot get rid of what you are because you would cease to be. Imagine a tree that believes that to be a good tree, it must first cut its roots. Does the tree that thinks so has a future? Me, I do not. I am because a tree with deep roots grows stronger, because it's firmly anchored in its present. The human moves unlike the tree. which has given it a connotation of fleeing, escaping from its point of origin. Get away from your past by going into the future. In tanto, for a vegetable, the future is up and down. For an animal, the future is ahead, where it's going. This has created the feeling that the only way forward is to leave the past behind. However, everything in life is a cycle, and inevitably, we go back to where it all begins. For this reason, each story that you read, write, observe, or live is normally a circle in which the hero moves away from his home, and after passing hundreds of feats and transformative adventures, he returns home. Thus, you were just a tree that walks in circles, but tree at last. That is why each of us goes back to where we started. The Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, is ourselves. And everything that life gave us is a tool to make the journey. Your family, your culture, your race, your species are your roots. They all have something to offer you. The first cell gave you the heartbeat. She dedicated herself to thinking about how to generate the circulation system so that now you don't have to think about it. The nerves had to find 1,000 ways to find the correct way to transmit information. And it is thanks to these cells that today you do not have to strain to feel. It is thanks to the conjunction of cells and bacteria that today you can digest without thinking. It is thanks to the first complex organisms that you can breathe and move without thinking. Thanks to your hominoid ancestors that you know what a home is, a family. It is thanks to the dangers that you have learned to feel fear. And today you know how to defend yourself. All your innate abilities are thanks to those Homo erectus and Homo habilis who set out to investigate the sticks and stones. It is thanks to all your direct ancestors that you feel what you feel, that you think as you think, that you have the capabilities that you have, the characteristics that make you who you are. And every step you take is an electrical pulse that charges your DNA with information for your children, grandchildren, and all future generations. Me, what if I don't have children? I am, well, your friends, nephews, or others. Well, attitudes are shared and transmitted by pulses, and sharing is a pulse too. Me, so I can't clean the karma that doesn't correspond to me or eliminate someone else's history because that story is me. I am, you can't. Me, but what about all those karmic cleansing therapies and clearing past memories? I am. I am, if you think about it, all of them give you clarity. Thus, you accept your story, you acknowledge it, and you accept yourself. The idea or the thought that these therapies lead to is to recognize that I am taking a weight off my shoulders that is foreign, but all I'm doing is giving it its rightful place. If the goal is really to eliminate the past in order to build a future, it is literally to believe that I will obtain better fruits by cutting down trees. Me, sure, it's impossible. I am. It is difficult for me to see running a historic marathon in a wheelchair. Maybe the chair is motorized and you beat those who are running. But it will not have been a fair race because your body did not find the inner potential but used the external one. You became invalid not when you cannot use your body, but when you devalue it by depositing it on something external that assures you that it will make your life easier. That is being invalid, which means worthless. Me, therefore, everything that my family has lived is what I am. I am. Tell me, what has your family experienced? And I was, this is me talking now. I was debating whether or not I should share this bit because it's very personal and it's just very courageous of Matias and very generous of him to have shared this with us because it helps us with our life story and it helps us understand how we created our life situation, our life circumstances, how we created the life we're in. So I decided to share this with you in hopes that it will be helpful, as Matias has intended for it to be. I am asks, tell me, what has your family experienced? And Matias answers, me. Well, as far as I know, my family comes from Potenza, Italy. Well, it was actually the Kingdom of Naples. They immigrated during the Unification War. Hunger led them to leave, to emigrate to Argentina in search of a peaceful home where they could produce. There they had children. They multiplied. It was a very macho and old-fashioned family. But I recently discovered that the men in the family, older women, had been cheating on them with other men. In fact, my great-great-grandmother ran away with another and abandoned them. It was even thought that my great-grandmother had also been forced by my great-grandfather to have relations with her father-in-law. And we even have the doubt whether my grandfather is the son of her grandfather or not. My grandmother also had her loves, although my grandfather seemed not to care at all. Maybe for that reason, my mother had me when she was 17, the product of a weekend meeting. My father denied me until I was 27 years old. When I looked for my brothers, for his part, his family had also escaped from the French Basque country, going to live in the Argentine countryside. Tough and rude people, in which the women of the family also escaped from their men. I am. Escape. And how do you feel escaping? Me? Well, sometimes I feel like that. I am. In a macho and repressive environment in which the man is abandoned by the woman, you decided to look for men who do not abandon you like them, trying to break the repression, being born homosexual as a reaction to the trauma of your family, but knew well in your cells that women had gradually protected themselves from the indifference and dominance of the male. So you created an environment without men present, where women could direct their own lives, although you never felt at home, because they always had to leave to be safe. Thus, your mother and you needed to move every 2 or 3 years, feeling the security in the move. Your trips are the reaction to escaping from what can catch you in the family. the non-recognition of your physical father, the non-recognition of your physical father makes you not recognize your heavenly parents or find your own limits, so you always seek to transcend them without waiting to finish what you started. The purposelessness of the men in your family created nonsense in your heart, escape from you. Me, seen like this, of course, I am. But my question is, have you decided that this is wrong? Have you wanted to erase the story? Or did you decide to use the same tool for a positive purpose? Me, I think so. That I haven't denied that story, and that I set out to make the best of it. I am. We'll take a good look. You have turned male repression into your creative freedom and sexuality. Without fear of sharing what you feel, you have converted the energy of escape in your mission, in traveling, moving, showing the world, remembering that there is no other home than planet Earth. You have transformed controlling machismo into a life in which women have the last word in your decisions and advice. They are your guides. You have made your father the universe, and you turned the limits of Parthenos into the infinite expansion of the cosmos, which allowed you to return to your father and your brothers with freedom. You took the possible concept that your birth was your mother's mistake, and you turned her into the grace of having her more as a companion and sister on the road than a matriarchal mandate. You have quietly taken your grandfather's lack of purpose and given him the greatest purposes that you share with thousands. Tell me now, do you think that with this you have disgraced or deleted your story? Me, no. I have resignified it. I used their potential, their ways, to turn them into something superior. I am. So you didn't have to cut down trees. You had to contemplate them, understand them, accept them, know part of it. And instead of removing roots, you removed the earth, oxygenated it, put compost and some worms and minerals. You revitalized the roots, resignifying the strength of sustenance. Me. So what each of us must do to find harmony is what in a network together we must do with humanity, with wars, politics, hunger, conflicts, racism, patriarchy, matriarchy, oppression, all of this. It must not be cleaned or eliminated. It must be redefined. I am. There are no good or bad, and even dead roots serve as compost for new ones. Everything is recyclable. Nothing can be disposed of on earth. You cannot eliminate your past because a people or individual without past is a people without meaning, without the strength to build a future. What you must do is stop living in the past, resignify it in your present, and thus create a future. Me, how do I resignify it? I am with attitudes, actions. It generates a new action, a new attitude and aptitude before the daily circumstances. Contemplate your common reaction in life. Look for the origin of this attitude, and you will find the mechanism. acknowledge it, and you will find its purpose. So you give it a new meaning and utility, and put it into practice by acting differently. If you used to shout, now strive to speak softly in the same circumstances. Educating the body until it becomes a new habit is like exercising. It takes time to see the expected results, but one day it will become mechanical, and you will not have to think more or use sympathetic neurons because your parasympathetic system will be in charge. Me. Instead of reacting, I must act. I am, and to recognize that everything you have done in other lives and in this one, what your ancestors have done, all of it is you today, here and now. Resign yourself. Honor your father and mother, all your ancestors, all your roots. Me, well, I am the tree.